Okay, hello out there, and welcome to this event. This is a e-conference on global health and well-being. This is part of the series of e-conferences organized within the project EU GLOW, the Global Universities Alliance for the University Alliance for Global Health. And we've got right now 63 participants in the event. It may happen that some others are going to join us. Let me first of all introduce this event. Mental health and emotional well-being is one of the greatest issues that we have to confront these days in our modern societies. Universities are not outside of this reality. There's been a lot of effort from many different organizations and institutions about fostering this part of health, which is of utmost importance. Particularly after the COVID-19 pandemic, it was seen necessary as to promote mental health and also to take care of emotional well-being, but this is not a new thing. And inside universities, we have witnessed along the past years that, several initiatives and several units have emerged that have taken care of mental health and emotional well-being. It is also the case that in our modern universities, we have topics covering mental health and emotional well-being as transversal topics in different courses. We are going to see during this event that, several of these initiatives are already present in the two universities who are organizing this e-conference. One of them is the University of Alcalá. I belong to this one. My name is Raquel Lázaro Gutiérrez, as you can see. And the other one is the University of Novi Sad. One university in Spain, the other university in Serbia, and you're going to see that from both universities, there are very important initiatives regarding this topic. We are lucky to have a good example of presenters. So the event is going to be organized as follows. We are going to listen to the presentation of our 5 presenters. We're going to enjoy the talks by Elena Alcalde Peñalver from the University of Alcalá, Tania Medved from Novi Sad, Alejandro Iborra Cuellar from the University of Alcalá, Liliana Mijic from the University of Novi Sad, and Silvia Damianova Radeva from the University of Alcalá. Please remember that this event is being recorded, so you should have seen this appearing on the screen, and we will be able to share the video of this event later. In any case, pay good attention because the audience is able to make questions by the end of this event. So first we will enjoy the presentations, then we will watch the contributions of students about this topic, about their opinions on of mental health and emotional well-being. And later on, we will have some time for questions and a little bit of discussion. So I'm not going to take any more time. And we're going to start with the presentation of Elena Alcalde Peñalver from the University of Alcalá. She's going to discuss about the topic of mental health for international students, both outgoing and incoming. And she's also going to speak a little bit about a project based on mental health. Elena Alcalde Peñalver is a senior lecturer at the Department of Modern Philology at the University of Alcalá. She holds a PhD in translation from the University of Granada. She's currently the Vice Dean for Mobility at the Faculty of Humanities and is part of the Health for All project, coordinated by myself, sorry to say it like this, within the University of Alcalá. So, Elena, you can start sharing your screen.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction, Raquel. So I will start sharing the screen. I think you can all see it now, right? Yes. Okay, so I will start. So good afternoon already. So good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for the introduction again, Raquel. I just want to make sure that everything is working, right? I'm not talking to myself. Yeah. Let me just
Yes,
go
we
back.
can
Okay.
hear you.
Great.
We can see your screen as well.
Thank
We
you
can
so much
see
for...
it inside the software, inside the PPT software. If you want to make it full screen, that is also a possibility.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Raquel, for the confirmation. So, anyway, so again, as the Vice Dean for Mobility at the Faculty of Humanities of the University of Alcalá, I would like to emphasize the importance of mental health, obviously for all our students at university, but specifically for incoming and outgoing students. Mental health problems affect nowadays about 84 million people across the EU. And again, this includes our incoming and outgoing students. With this, what I would like to say is that we need to be aware that when they get to another country, they might feel in a vulnerable situation because of the language barrier, which of course they are there to break. They chose to go to another country to enjoy the experience of being abroad, but they might feel at some point that they lack support to adapt to a foreign atmosphere. They might not know where their resources are to have some support when it comes to mental health. And of course, we know that, during the Erasmus experience, there's these waves, we could call them waves of emotions, right? We're like feeling super excited. We feel like this is the best country where we've ever been. Now I want to stay here forever. But then they might encounter some problems and that emotion goes down, and then they feel like they want to go back home, or they don't know what to do to get some kind of moral support. All these kind of situations in which they might feel that they need to have some help, and they need to know the resources to have access to mental health care services wherever they are. So this is why I would like to briefly present the mental health project, Mental Health for All project, coordinated in the University of Alcalá by Raquel Lázaro, as she already mentioned. It is a project which includes 13 partners from 9 European countries, and it is funded by the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund of the European Union. What is the general aim of this project? Well, it is to develop, test, and implement a multilingual, culturally sensitive, and evidence-based digital information and communication platform in mental health care. Very useful resource that will be able to be used by millions of people from anywhere, because it will be, as I will explain a little bit later, open access. Okay, so why this project? Why do we need to have results from a project of this kind? Well, because I'm talking specifically about refugees and migrants, but again, anyone could benefit from the results of this project. So these people in a kind of vulnerable situation, they might need treatment for their mental health problems, but when they are in a different country, they will have difficulties when trying to have access to mental health care services, and particularly those who do not speak.
Elena, I
Yes?
hate to interrupt you, but it
Yes.
seems that the slides are not progressing.
Oh, really? So I'm in this. There's the question why now on the slide. Can you see it, number 4?
We can only see the first one. Yeah,
Oh my
maybe if you
God.
share as full screen.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, so sorry about that. So let me see, because I'm saying, let me try. So dejar de compartir. I'm gonna share again. So, okay. Okay, let's see now. So now in the 4th one, is that okay now?
Yes, now we can see
Okay.
a slide which starts with about the project. Why?
Okay, great. So then maybe I leave it like this and not full screen, because that might be the problem.
Yeah, let's try.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So yeah, so maybe in some cases they succeed in gaining access to these services, but the treatment might lack some cultural and linguistic sensitivity, which of course will result in inadequate care. So let me tell you about the outcomes, the expected outcomes of the project. So first, a repository that will be primarily targeted at healthcare providers, and that will be included in a digital platform that will be open access, and again, anyone will be able to use it. The link is here. I can also share it with you so that you can let me see. I can do that. I can do that on the chat. Okay, 1 second. So that you can. Okay. Well, I will try to do this later so as not to interrupt, because I'm having some technical issues here. So yeah, as I said before, you can just access this. Click on the link, and then you will have access to this repository. I will show you an example so that you can see how it works. So for example, let's say that you want to find materials in Spain, materials that were created in Spain that are written in English, and the kind of materials that you're looking for are, for example, guidelines, brochures, or information sheets. Well, this is what you will find. One of them is video about psychological recommendations, and then another brochure which includes text and images that provide information about emotional health, how to manage emotions, how to call for help, etc. Okay, so this is one of the things that you can find, or an example of how this repository works, but you can try with other languages, with resources from other countries, with many different types of resources. Okay, so yeah, again, first expected outcome, this repository, which is already available online. More outcomes, a set of education and communication strategies addressing these barriers that we talked about before, and needs. And among the publications that are already coming out of this project, we can find this one, in which again, Raquel is included as an author. So an example of what we're getting from this result, from this project. A very interesting publication with results on how to break down barriers. More results are information videos about mental health care, videos in different languages about different topics, we can watch one if you want, or well, maybe since one video is going to be played a little bit later, maybe it's not necessary, but you can have the link again, and I would invite you to play some of the videos that are already on the website of the project, since they provide a lot of interesting information, very helpful information to address these current problems, to have the correct treatment in mental health care. And this is basically what I wanted to talk about, so as not to take too long, and allow everyone to have enough time to provide the information that they have in their presentations. So I would like to thank again the organizers for having put together such an interesting event, and I would like to thank also all the participants for your attention. Here is my email address in case you want to ask me any other questions, or you want to have more information about the project. I will be happy to help. I will have to leave in like 10 minutes, so I won't have, I won't be here for when questions will have to be answered, but my colleagues Raquel and Silvia also participate in the project and will be able to give you more specific details. Or of course you can email me, as I said, and ask me whatever you need. Thank you again for your attention, and I will try to share now the links in the chat for everyone to check. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Elena. Apparently, we are not able to share any chat messages with the audience, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay, that's why. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a technical issue.
No problem.
Yeah, but we can, in any case, as you were sharing the links on screen, it is not the most comfortable thing to do, but people can maybe copy them and access them. So thank you very much for your presentation. And yeah, thank you for your time as well. We all know that as a vice dean, it is always very challenging to find some time because, well, our university receives and sends an awful amount of students. So Elena is in charge of a very important mission, which implies a huge workload. So thank you very much, Elena. Okay, so we continue now with Tanya Medved, who is a representative of the Sports Association of Serbia, which is an associated EU Globe partner of the University of Novi Sad. She's going to offer a talk about the influence of physical and sports activities on the proper physical and mental development of children and the creation of a strong personality through personal experience. She is a prominent former handball player with more than 200 matches for national team and team captain of a national team, over 30 titles won in national championship, national cups, European cups, with clubs where she played in North Macedonia, Spain, France, Denmark, and Serbia. She is holder of the National Sport Acknowledgement, winner of the bronze medal at the 2001 World Championship. After playing career still on the field as a delegate of the European Handball Federation, continuing to represent Serbia at the biggest European club and national team events in women's and men's handball competitions. Today, Tanya Medved is Member of Parliament of the Republic of Serbia and the President of the Serbian Parliamentary Subcommittee for Sports. There are plenty of more things I could say about her, as she is an outstanding sports representative in this group, but I prefer to give her the floor so that she can share with us her talk.
Thank you very much for this introduction. I will try to share my screen, and let's see if I'm able to do that. Yeah, thank you very much for this introduction. On first place, hello to everyone. Hola, buenos días a todos. Dobar dan svima. Of course, all these things that you mentioned in introduction gives me possibility to to live in different countries and to learn different languages. And here I'm here I am. I first of all, it's the first time that I'm participating in some kind of these events. I usually do that promoting the sport on the field. So I will try to give you topics from my personal experience. And as you are speaking, for me today, the biggest problem, which is emotional well-being among all of us. For me, emotional well-being contributes to mental health. And of course, sport gives me through my life. Today I'm 50 years old, but all these years, emotional well-being gives me the straight and strong enough to be mentally healthy and mentally prepared for all obstacles that I could have, as well in sport career, as well in life. And how it start in primary school. It starts with 7 years old, when in regular classes of physical education, we of course learn many things about our motorical capacities and of course cognitive capacities, etc. But we also had a lot of sports in our classes, and one of the sports which I mostly loved was handball, and this is how it started. And of course, the girls who played and trained with me, they contribute that I decide to love this sport for all my life, which means that with 8 years we've been members of the school team, who afterwards become a member of the city, Novi Sad, my city club team. And this is how my life story in sport begins. And when I realized that I want the sport to be my day life, and that I really feel full in all sentences, it's somewhere around 12 years when we really enjoyed in every training we had, in every match we had, in every competition. Today, comparing with my days in that time, the competition doesn't have the same sense as it was. Today, competition is not that we just want to learn to be better. We want to be better, and this is something that I don't support. If that it's not everything in the result, it's not everything that you have to win. It's everything about that you make on yourself, that you become a better, and that you learn every day. So even today, with 50 years, I'm learning a lot of things, and this is something that from our country, as a highest sportman in our country is promoting, is Novak Djokovic. He's always trying to be and give his best every next time. So my experience during my whole career was quite difficult, and sometimes it's hard to explain everything in few words, because I'm the generation who has grown up in one country, which is former Yugoslavia. Then we separate due to some political issues and wars, and my sport career hit a big, or had a big influence because of those reasons. So I need to postpone my national team career because we was under embargo, and we couldn't give our best during these years. So we needed to be very well emotionally well-being to superate these 6 years that we were under embargo, and we couldn't compete on the highest level. We couldn't develop as a generation who always wanted to reach the highest levels in the sport that we participate. And then also during my sport career, I also had some personal problems, some healthy issues that I needed to superate. And you know, when you are day by day on the field, when you are training every day, you are training your mental health as well. What I want to say with that, I want to say that with every training you are preparing during the working week, you are preparing the match that you are going to play. and sometimes things are going good, sometimes things are going not so good. And when you are absolutely ready for the weekend match, you are totally prepared, and then you lose of some reason, some influence. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's just the other team, the opposite team was better, and you need to take care about that just in one day, because in next Monday the new week starts, and the new weekend comes, and the new match comes. And sometimes you spend the whole year to prepare for the final of some competition where you are expecting to win, and where you're expecting to reach the highest position, and then you just lost. So I had also that experience, that in the final of the Champions League, highest competition in my sport, I lost once. I lost in final, and then you have to recuperate, and then you win. The next year you win, but you learn a lot from your, let's name it, mistakes. But I'm not like to name it as mistakes. It's just superating and things that are happening day by day, especially when we are speaking in a female sport, where we are not the same level as men in a physical way. What does that mean? We have some natural things that we have to superate every month. Like it's I don't want to go deeper. So all these hormones disturbs that we can feel. So we must to give more than 100% to be always on top, to get over some problems that we can have. I also have one of the biggest health problem in my life, which is cancer of the sorry, I don't know English word, úteris de cuello. Raquel, ¿me puedes ayudar? Sí. So that's happened to me.
Cervix cancer,
yeah. Sorry?
Cervix.
Yeah. So that happens to me in the middle of the season, where I needed to face off from today to tomorrow, and I needed to go to surgery, and all these things, can have a big influence over you, because of course I also feel I felt in a, let's name it, depression. But why? It's more like thousands of questions why that's happened to you, why you need to pass over that. But anyhow, I want to say that, and it's my father's words which let's say gives me the more strength, or make my conscience well-being. He told me, don't worry, you are going to superate that. When I told him, why, that's happening to me, and why I had to pass all over this. And he said, don't worry, you will superate that easily. And I was like, how are you saying that? And he told me words which I always repeat. He told me, the sport makes you a fighter and makes you a winner, so you will superate this as well as any other match you have played. And really, it was like that. This is when this operation happened when I had 24 years, and this is the age when I start to use all my experience and to give all my best from me on the field, when I could have clear conscience about everything what I'm doing. When when we are in a young age, some words that we are getting from the parents, some words that we are getting from the professors, some words that older persons giving to us in the best possible way, we are not accepting well, because we believe that we know everything. But it's really that age, 24, 25, when we can realize everything what is going inside us, all this that what is going outside us, and we can start to create a strong personality. And this is my experience that gave me that today, with 50 years, I really have a strong personality woman who can let's say fight with everything, who don't have fear for anything, who can solve any problems that step on in front of me, because the sport really learns me that every problem is to be solved, not to be hidden, and we have to face to every problem. And problem is not the biggest thing in what we can live. The problem is just things that we need to have support from our family, from our closest friends, and only together we can reach all the everything what we desire, and everything what we dream of. So this is the way how I could get over all my life problems. This is the way how I could live that with 37 years, when I stopped my career with all possible problems that I could have after the operation that I mentioned. I give a birth to my daughter. She's 12 years old today, and she is also playing handball, and she's learning that sport is really important in her life, because I can see all these things that I'm just mentioned to you right now. I can see that she is really living a good emotional well-being when she go to sport and when she return home, because she had her problems in the school or with her friends. That for her is the biggest thing that she is living right now in her life. But when she back from the training, when she, all this stress that she have right now, she with the training, with the good physical activities, all that negative things go out, and you just really feel really good. And this is how I felt really during all my career with many hard trainings. You cannot imagine. This is for some another day and long story, how many hard trainings we had and how many difficulty we had to pass over, and how many times I had 1.5 2 hour training, difficult hard training. But when we finish and when you go out after the training, you feel really good. And when you reach the good results after the winning the matches or winning the competitions, then all your suffering and all what you've done during the last period becomes really value. So again, I would like to back to this emotional well-being and good communication with the people. I think today the good relations between the people and the kindness toward to other persons are reducing comparing with the times when I grow up, or with the youngest age when I was. I think that is the most important to keep that tradition, if I can name it like that, to have a good communication with persons, be kind, give to other persons nice words, because that is bringing to emotional well-being. When we are emotionally well-being, we really can contribute to have a straight, good, strong mental health. So I hope that these words that I could put in short time that I had could reach to you, to understand that it's everything about the happiness and the small things that we can do during our daily lives and during our lives, and be able to help to each other. That brings us strong, to be more strong, and to be emotionally well-being. So for me, happiness is most important thing in life. Find the happiness in small things, and you can reach your goals, you can reach your dreams. And I'm really a person who believe and who can confirm through my experience that the highest goals that you can put in front yourself, you can reach only if you believe, if you have confidence in what you do, and just trust to yourself. So this is I think it's enough from me. If you have any question, of course, you can ask me, and you can reach me through Raquel, whatever, how people would like to contact me, and hope I will have another possibility to contribute with my experience with some other topics, and some maybe longer time, because I'm a person also who always love and like to talk much. So thank you very much for this invitation. Thank you very much for giving me possibility to participate in this, to give few words if in this conference. And I must say that 10 years of my life I have lived in Spain, in Valencia. So also it's very important, and my experience saying to me, comparing with my life in France, in Denmark, in North Macedonia, Spain gave me a lot of this changing in creation of strong personality, and your mentality is quite similar to our Serbian. I also believe that when you're changing places where you are living, when you're changing your tradition and you have to accept the tradition of someone else, Spain is rest in my heart as my second home, and Valencia is my second home for sure. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ti, Tatiana. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation and for sharing your experiences. Yeah, I think you're an example of resilience as well. We didn't know this, we have just known. So thank you very much. I think many of you can mirror you with similar experiences, and I agree that sometimes it is particularly when we are in our 20s that we become aware of our health. So thank you very much, Tatiana. For the audience, you know that you can ask questions using the question and answer application within Zoom, right? And the questions will be shared with the panelists later when we finish with all the presentations. The following presentation is by Alejandro Iborra Cuellar. He's going to talk about emotional well-being from a value creation perspective. Alejandro Iborra Cuellar holds a degree and a PhD in psychology from the University of Valencia. So here you've got a link in common with Tatiana. Since 2010, he has been Associate Professor at the Department of Educational Sciences at the University of Alcalá in Spain. He currently teaches developmental psychology, happiness education, and counseling skills at undergraduate and postgraduate level. From March 2010 to February 2013, he was coordinator of the Teaching Innovation Program belonging to the Vice Rectorate for Quality and Teaching Innovation. From February 2013 to March 2019, he was director of the Department of Educational Sciences. He is currently director of the Daisaku Ikeda Joint Institute for Research in Education and Development at the Faculty of Education, University of Alcalá, and coordinator of the doctoral program in education. His research focuses on identity formation processes, transitional processes in learning and development, experiential learning, and emotional intervention programs. The floor is yours, Alejandro.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share this. Do you see it full? I guess, yeah. It's in full, right?
We cannot see it yet, but I guess it is going to appear very soon. Maybe it is loading.
Just, I am watching it in full. Just tell me. It's already there?
Not yet.
Not yet? No?
No.
I have it in my screen.
Is it too heavy as a file?
Not really. It's very brief.
Otherwise, I can rescue it.
Yeah, it is. Oh, wait. Here is something. Okay, I'm going to repeat it. And now?
Yes, now we can. Yes.
Okay. Now, okay, no, not yet. Okay, this is the title, Emotional Well-Being from a Value Creation Perspective. This is the summary of one of the main ideas we work in our subjects concerning developmental psychology, educational psychology, and above all, education for happiness. Some of our research concerning emotion interventions is also quite related with what I wanted to share with all of you. When we talk about well-being and emotional well-being, what is emotional health, these days it is a lot of research concerning what is called the 6 pillars of health. I just wanted to mention them. Maybe you are familiar with them. So for example, the need to sleep is also important, around 7 hours, or how we are exposed to daylight. And even when we are sleeping, avoiding light, and how important it is to be absolutely in a dark room. The movement and physical activity that is so important to health. The previous talk was a good example of that, in part. I think physical activity is really important in order to not only to help, but also to being well with yourself. And nutrition, that's so important, that you really get what you need, what your body needs, and it's a natural nutrition. Social connection, that you really have meaningful relationships. And above all, is how do you control and manage your stress. These are the 6 sometimes taken for granted variables in order to get well-being or have a healthy way of living, so to speak. But not only this. For example, I wanted to mention the work of Tal Ben-Sahar, a psychologist from Harvard, who became quite famous with this book of Happier. And he mentioned, once again, 6. I don't know what happened with the number 6. But he mentioned again what was important in order to be happy. In order to be happy, you need to practice sport, being grateful, optimism, resilient, avoiding procrastination, and once again, the social relationships. As you can see, there are some common aspects. And so you want to be happy, you want to be a good well-being, an emotional well-being, just follow all these 6 dimensions or these 6 pillars. That's all you need to do. But of course, it's not so simple and it's not so easy. This is not what matters for us. This is really important. This is really important. This is like the background that we will need to reflect. But for us, what matters is that way is this. How do I make sense of what I experience? This is a really complex question. How do I make sense of what I'm experiencing? In other words, I could tell you, does your life make sense for you? And how can you answer to that? What do you do in order to answer to this question? Because sometimes, and this is the metaphor I'm going to use, life and emotions and what we are feeling sometimes appears like this, like a messenger that calls to your home or calls to your attention, and it's going to bring a package. It's going to bring something. And what it was expected, it wasn't expected. What would be inside? Would you like it? Would it want? And what are you going to do with that? Sometimes it appears as if we are getting feedback from the world. We are getting things from the world, right? It is as if we are paying attention to what the others expect from us, what the others are going to give us, what life is going to bring to us. And it is as if we are waiting what is coming next in this passive way of what is going to come to us, like the person, the messenger, no? That's like this messenger, for example. But let's imagine that we have thousands of messengers all the time and a lot of information to manage. But for me, the metaphor I would like to use is the opposite. When we make sense of our world and we make sense of our life, it's more important, as this fisher, what kind of net we are using in order to catch in the world. So it's not a passive process, but a really active process of feed forward. Feed forward means what are you predicting, or what are you expecting from the world? Because that's what is going to create the feedback. That's what is going to create the information that you are going to get. So what is in your net, or to what extent you are using a net or not, it's what matters. So what are your expectations? Are you aware of your expectations concerning every aspect in your lives? Because we are all the time actively or passively expecting things happen or to not happen. And being aware of our expectations for us is absolutely important. Because sometimes your expectation is like this direct and straight arrow, when reality is more or less the other drawing that you can find there. So if you expect that kind of a straight arrow, probably you're going to find many surprises through life, because life is more like a messy, fluctuating process that we need to make sense. So don't kill the messenger. That's one of the key messages, again, that we wanted to share. Sometimes emotions for us are like the messenger. Emotions are giving you information. So don't kill the messenger. Don't even get married with the messenger. Don't try to pay too much attention to the emotion or to the messenger, because that's not what matters. What matters is the information that is around. What is that emotion, or what is what you are getting? What is the information about what is going on? And the meaning or value of what you get, once again, is influenced by what you were expecting beforehand. And here is the last message. In order to have a well-being, in order to have a life that has value for us, it's not how do you create value from what you get. That will be one possibility. But how do you create value as a life stance from the beginning? You could have a stance, a setup to create value from the beginning with whatever comes to you. For us, that's generative feed forward, so that we are trying to create value with anything that happens to us. And of course, learning with the information we get from whatever happens. So this is maybe too abstract. I don't know. We'll be able to discuss it. But well-being means for us dealing with expectation, dealing with how we can manage the feedback, because we are expecting something and we can create value with all that. Much more if from the beginning you are trying to create value with whatever you find. So thank you for your attention. I hope that we will have time to discuss this. Maybe, I don't know if it will be meaningful for you or not. We will see. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. Yes, it is really interesting how you approach these matters, and the focus on happiness is very refreshing. So thank you very much. We are going to continue with our next presenter, who is Liliana Mihic from the University of Novi Sad. She's going to tell us about the students' mental health at the University of Novi Sad, status, obstacles, and possible solutions. Dr. Liliana Mihic has obtained her PhD at the Western University of London in Canada. While working in Canada, she was a member of a national team which developed national guidelines for seniors' mental health. In Serbia, she continues to work on various national and institutional policies regarding research ethics. Her research is centered on understanding personality and cognitive vulnerabilities to various mental disorders. Also, she has been involved in conceptualization and conducting the first Serbian epidemiological study, which provided base rates for common mental disorders that can be used for national and international comparisons regarding prevalence of these disorders. In recent years, she has been involved in program development, focusing on development and evaluation of evidence-based group therapy for students with emotional difficulties. Liliana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Raquel. Can you see my presentation?
Yes. Yes, I can see.
Okay. So Raquel said that the title of my presentation is Students' Mental Health at the University of Novi Sad, Status, Obstacles, and Possible Solutions. Why the topic is important? Because a huge amount of research really show us that the prevalence of depression and generalized anxiety is high among university students, and there is a tendency of increasing prevalence across different campuses and across numerous countries. Also, we know that mental health problems are associated with school dropout, with weaker school achievement, with social dysfunction, with lower job prospects. Also, a number of studies conducted in both developed and developing countries suggest that students might have a greater probability of developing mental health problems when they are contrasted with young non-student counterparts. When the students are asked about their help-seeking behaviors, they usually report various barriers. So basically, that is a state of affairs, as you, Raquel, stated in your introductory part. My own interest in the whole topic started almost a decade ago, when actually my colleagues and myself were really interested in early detection and early intervention, hoping that once if we detect certain mental health problems earlier, that would be more easier to target before actually there are full-blown episodes of the various emotional disorders. So basically, a decade ago, my colleagues and myself approached university students at their regular classes. We approached close to 1,500 students and various faculties of University of Novi Sad. We asked them a number of questions about their level of depression, anxiety. We screened them for possible psychiatric diagnosis, and we were really surprised to see that almost 11% of our students actually reported moderate to extreme level of dysphoric affect. A couple of years afterwards, an independent group of researchers, a part of so-called EHIS study, which was a European health interview study covering a huge number of European countries, conducted a similar study. But actually, they were looking at the general population. And if we select only young people, ages 18 to 25, we can see that in 2013, there was around 3% of young people having moderate to extreme level of dysphoric, depressed affect. 2 years ago, during the second year of COVID, we again conducted a large representative sample in the Republic of Serbia. And again, we were not only focused on students, but also young people. And again, we obtained around 6% of young people displaying moderate to extreme level of dysphoric affect. When we see those numbers, 10 years ago, actually the percentages were higher. So one reason could be that actually in all these different research, we used different self-report measures. But again, to me, these statistics might tell us that students might be more likely to develop more difficulties encounters to their younger counterparts, which is a finding similar to the one that I just told you in the introduction. Also, when something similar happens with the anxiety distress, again, students at the University of Novi Sad displayed a larger percentage compared to the young people 2 years ago during the COVID pandemic. Also, as I mentioned, we also looked at the psychiatric diagnosis, and actually being in a distress doesn't necessarily mean that the person satisfies criteria for certain psychiatric disorder. 10 years ago, we used the self-screener, and 2 years ago, during the COVID period, we used interviews with people in order to see how many of them would satisfy diagnostic criteria for various illnesses. So a decade ago, among our university students, they 33% screened positive, and most of the diagnoses were social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, and major depressive episodes. Again, when we go forward, 2 years ago, the most prevalent problem among the youth was alcohol use and substance use, also major depressive episode and general anxiety. Again, when we look at the percentages 2 years ago, again, we are getting a slightly lower percentages, around 80%, but it is still very high. Percentage for young people. They're normally considered like being healthy. At both times, a decade ago and right now, we are really interested in seeing how much young people, when they don't feel well, search for help. Again, when we look at the data 10 years ago, around 17.5% of students really ask for help if they need it. Very recently, just in October this year, my colleagues from OPENS organization, OPENS is an alliance of local youth organizations that is interested in mental health and well-being of youth. They just conducted a month ago an online survey, again targeting only students at the University of Novi Sad, and you can see that in these recent years, at least the last month, there were a larger percentage of youth willing to ask for help, which is, I guess, a very good news, showing that within a decade period, our youth are more willing to ask for help if they need it. Also, some important things are here to be noticed. What are the challenges that our students at the University of Novi Sad are facing? Majority of them were worried about their future, prospects. Also, another concern that was very important for them, they are reporting that they're overwhelmed by their studies, that they fear that they will miss something important in their life, or they have financial worries and also loneliness. So these challenges are very important to keep in mind while we are planning any kinds of services and support that we need to provide to our students in order to have a healthy campus. So what are the mental health support options at the university and the city of Novi Sad? In 2018, my colleague Snežana Tovilović and myself developed actually an 8-week group support format for students that they had mild to moderate level of distress. And basically, we created a group program that combined different modules, and we made sure that the modules that we included were really evidence-based. And as you can tell, based on those modules, many of them deal with the emotions, how to regulate emotions, how to become emotionally aware, how to be more willing to experience negative emotions. Also, some modules focus on cognitive flexibility, how not to be detached very much to our thought, especially irrational thought content. Also, important modules deal with goal setting and values. Unfortunately, COVID came in 2020, so we were not able to run many groups. Initial groups were quite positive. We had a number of students really wanted to participate. This group support was offered through our Center for Student Support at the Faculty of Philosophy. However, it was open to all students. And initially, in an online screening, we had more than 200 students interested in participating within the program. So our plan is really to continue working on using this form of treatment. When we focus in a broader sense within the city of Novi Sad, there are certain different also options for help. There is an alliance of 14 non-profit organizations that provide individual and group counseling, career counseling, crisis interventions, also support for youth with the experience of psychosis. Many of these support options are free of charge, or they really ask for a minimal charge in order for our young people to participate in those support options. However, there are not enough support for sure. What we know is that there are long waiting lists. There are at least, on average, 2 to 3 months for waiting for individual counseling in these different non-profit organizations in the city. Also, youth prefer individual counseling in Serbia, I would say. For example, even if they are given opportunity, some of those nonprofit organizations do have group support. However, youth are more willing to wait rather than to participate in group treatment options. So this is something that we need to have in mind, and we need to work around that, and to make sure that we advertise this type of support, because we do have a lot of information supporting the group support, the group format as a efficient way of therapy. Another difficulty is that not many professionals within all these nonprofit organizations are really educated to provide either group psychotherapy or group support. And one important obstacle is definitely lack of services in other languages within the city of Novi Sad. It's quite sporadic. It really depends on a provider, whether he or she is fluent in English and whether he or she is willing to provide support in different languages than Serbian. When we think about what shall we do, what kind of support we should support, my colleagues from Opens in October 2023, this very fresh news, asked students what are the topics that they would like to talk about, and if they would like to, if they were to ask for help, what kind of help they would need. The topic number one is, again, regulation of emotions. And this is something actually that we really included in our 8-week group support program. However, their interest is much wider. They would know how to conduct better interpersonal relationships, how to study better, procrastinate less, how to lead a healthy life, how to have a healthy diet, how to increase their employment possibilities, also how to prevent substance use and abuse of various kinds. So basically, this is something that we need to have in mind when we think about organizing any kind of support for well-being of our students. So where do we go from here? In the past, as I show you briefly, our results of our research group, but also these two independent research groups that actually looked at the state of well-being of our nations, we don't have at the level of university or regular institutionalized monitoring of students' mental health, which I think would be very important. I think Canada has a very good example of good practice. They set up a couple of years ago the so-called Canadian Campus Wellbeing Survey. And basically, this is a number of different post-secondary educations and schools adopted this survey. And basically, they use the same set of questions. In this way, when we have something institutionalized, when everybody answers the same questions, universities and all interested parties actually can have regular monitoring of well-being of our students, can have information about what types of services are needed for individuals, and also this can allow us to better better integrate research with policymaking. Another path where we should go is definitely to better network with all interested parties. We should network better with nonprofit organizations within the city of Novi Sad, and all of us who work at the University of Novi Sad and who care about the well-being of our students. So that's all for now. So I'm open to any questions now or later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Liliana. Very interesting. And yeah, you mentioned one aspect which is also quite interesting, which is that of language discordance. Yeah, sometimes we take it for granted, but many times, well, the language is actually a huge barrier. Okay, let's proceed with our last presenter. This time we've got with us Silvia Damianova-Radeva from the University of Alcalá. She's currently one of our students. As you can see, we've tried to cover a little bit of all the profiles that we could offer to take part in this conference. Silvia is going to speak about mental health interpreting in Spain. So I think this links very nicely with this that we were commenting about language discordance. And she's going to focus on how we can interact with the therapeutic triad. Silvia is graduated from English Studies from the Autónoma University of Madrid, and from the master's degree in intercultural communication, interpreting and translation in public services from the University of Alcalá. She's a translator and a telephone interpreter who has been working with the company Dualia Teletraducciones for more than 2 years, with the language combinations Spanish, English, and Bulgarian. She's also a PhD student at the University of Alcalá in the program of Modern Languages, Literature and Translation. She is there's a researcher, lecturer, and also the secretary of the master's degree in conference interpreting for business at the University of Alcalá. She has several studies which have been published in leading journals, and her main lines of research are healthcare interpreting and translation in the field of public services and interpreting in the mental health field. She's also part of the FIDISPUS research group and part of the mHealth for All project. So thank you, Silvia. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Raquel. And thank you to all of you, both universities, University of Alcalá and the University of Serbia, for giving me this opportunity to present only a tiny part of my PhD project. But I think that it will be interesting for all of you. And I will share my screen. Can you see it? And I will do it in the presentation mode, please. Okay, can you see it in the whole screen?
Yes, we can see your full screen, and we can see the following slides by the side. So
Okay,
it looks very nice.
I have three screens at the same time. If you want, I can change to the second screen only to see. It's okay in this way?
I think it looks very well, so don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you. So I will go to the first one. So thank you so much again, and I will talk about mental health interpreting in Spain, and I will concentrate my explanation on how is interpreting on mental health. What I mean is that I will start with introducing what is mental health, which is a state of general well-being in which a person is able to cope with the normal stress of life, to work productively, and to contribute to his or her community. In this positive sense, mental health is the foundation of individual well-being and effective community function. So, why mental health therapists are increasing in Spain? Because of SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19, plus the arrival of people from other countries, because of the different wars of Afghanistan, Argelia, Syria, Ukraine, and the wars that all of you know. What do these make for us. This increased demand of mental health therapies, and then it makes the creation of new communication challenges for mental health professionals, because when you're in mental health services, you should know both the culture of the patient and the language of the patient. And this is the time when interpreters come. So, interpreting in mental health. How to be an interpreter in mental health. There are several differences between interpreting in mental health and interpreting in other public services settings. And the main difference, according to Rosera, are the following one. You have to be able to understand people. You have to understand the other people and the other person's point of view, and you have to be able to put yourself in their shoes. Me, as a telephone interpreter, I can tell to you that this is so difficult. Another important aspect that the mental health interpreter will deal with is that all situations are unpredictable. You don't know with what kind of mental health issue you will deal with while you're interpreting. So this happens not only because of the context in which the interpreter is working, but it also because of the behavior that the patient will adopt and her reactions. It depends on which kind of, if the patient have schizophrenia or autism, it depends on the situation. So these situations are normally unexpected. The interpreter should be able to adapt his or her behavior and interpretations to the situation and the patient. I will give you some examples of my interpreting life. I found too many kind of interpreting, and one of them is that the patient told me that I will be abducted by UFO, or his or her relatives are living in the river. So this is so strange because you cannot find or follow the flow of the speaking and on the context, but you have to take your mind in blank and continue interpreting. So interpreting mental health context is not as easy as you all can imagine. It's important to be a good professional, to be familiar with the types of diagnoses that you can find in mental health. So for that, you have to be familiar with the encyclopedia DSM-5, which is the last version that many diagnoses change from the previous one. You have to know the different techniques that the therapist may use during the session. Therapists do not have time always, so it's important to do the briefing, but not always is possible to do it. Sometimes they call you, you grab your phone and say, "Hi, I'm the interpreter," and they told you, you will talk with the hospital and you don't know with what kind of diagnosis you will deal with during your interpretation. So mental health is like more difficult than many other public services and health services for interpreting. So you have to be able to interpreting the words with precision and accuracy. You don't have to change any word. You have to be prepared to change from consecutive to simultaneous interpreting or vice versa. What I mean with that is that if you are interpreting something which is so sensitive and so close to the patient, you do not have time to take notes and then to remember all what the patient told you. You have to change to simultaneous interpreting and try to be as similar as the patient is talking to you. So you have to be aware of the fact that this therapeutic session will be unpredictable and different to the previous one. So then in the next slide, I will present you some opinions from Spanish mental health interpreters and how they see mental health interpreting. I've made Microsoft Forms and I spread to the different mental health interpreters, and I asked them, what do you find most difficult when interpreting mental health? So they told me, it's difficult to convey emotions and deal with the situation itself because emotionally and or syntactically, it could be so difficult because you know how the patient is in the first call, and in the second call or in the second session, the patient can be different because he may be under the effect of drugs or his diagnosis going worse. So it's difficult to follow that. Another important opinion is that the impact it can have on the patient if only a tiny word is changed in the very delicate context. So it's very difficult to avoid empathizing with the patient and find ourselves interpreting in a non-professional level. You don't have to take into account the patient to say in that way emotions. You have to interpret, and then when you finish the therapy and finish the call, you can start thinking about it. But while you're interpreting, you don't have to take into consideration anything. You have to interpret and take into consideration the culture and the language and transmit everything, no more. Okay, if we as interpreters didn't have the necessary tools to be able to interpret as a true neutral professional, and if we are not mentally prepared to receive sensitive information, it can be a very complex labor. I consider interpreting in mental health as one of the most difficult specialties. Also, it's very difficult to manage emotion and professional barrier. It's very important to gain trust of the person, but sometimes the patient cannot trust you because he or she can think, depending on his or her diagnosis, that you are a bad person, that you do not want to help him or her. So you have to try to be as neutral as possible and try to give or her the support that you can think that she or he may need. So our main purpose as interpreters is helping the patient and to get the correct diagnosis. Sometimes patients didn't tell, the mental health and health services do not tell us as interpreters from where they are calling from. And it was a very strange when the person suddenly tells you as an interpreter, lions are coming and they are going to eat me. So you think that it's a joke. That's not normal for us. You have to take into consideration that you can find everything. Mental health is a difficult topic, but it's possible to interpret into it. And you have to take into consideration as an interpreter, vocabulary and jargon. So I think that it's too short, my presentation, but I think that I put everything together and the most important information. So thank you so much. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you all these opportunities. And this is my email, and you can ask whatever you want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. All of the presentations were extremely interesting. And well, apart from the presentations, as promised, we've got the participation of more students. We've got Sylvia as a representation of students from the University of Alcalá, but we've received a lot of videos from the students of the UGLO Alliance. We had to make a selection because the contributions were many. And I'm happy that I'm going to share with you what our students thought about the topics that we presented regarding this e-conference.
Mental health for me personally means how I'm feeling, how my personal emotional well-being looks like. It also can affect includes how I can handle stress, how I handle my relationships in my private life, but also how I can deal with the workload.
Mental health for me are the group of activities that the people should make to take care about their own mind.
We are referring to the equilibrium between our emotions and our actions, and how our current psychological state influences our decisions, our feelings, and even how we relate to people around us.
Is when you do things to actively help your mental health. If that's working out, if that's eating good food, if that's hanging out with friends that you love, if that's like making sure you do things in your everyday to for your mental health, basically.
Part of a process that I have to go through to be better, and expect that process to learn from, not something to be scared of.
For me, emotional well-being is actually as crucial as physical well-being. You know, sometimes we look at people who are very sick, like physically, we are like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, we start being concerned. But you know, emotionally, we can't really see it if someone is hiding it. But at the same time, I really think that the most important part on acknowledging that, like, for your emotional well-being is like, it's okay to sometimes to not feel okay, you know? That's like acknowledging your own feeling. You need to let yourself be in a chill position, and you know, we will be at one point in life where we will not feel good, and that's okay. That's the point that we're still living. That's emotional well-being for me.
It's really important that the university destines its resources to ensure their students' well-being. In the end, we're going to spend from 3 to 6 years in university studying. So we just ask for students to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to feel, why not, happy. Students need to feel at home. That's why we expect from European universities to work together towards creating an active university life where student participation matters, and offer good services on campus and create schedules that meet the students' requirements.
Be open communication, and in general awareness of mental health, especially when there's students in a new program, that they know about the resources that the university has, like therapy or counseling, and that the well-being is taken care of the students.
The support that I'm expecting from my university in helping students, I think the university already provided some of the minimum requirements or substantial services such as counseling, career coaching, time management workshop, and other activities and services that are readily available. But I think one thing that is missing is the agency from all of the students, that they have the decision making, they have the motivation, and they have the power to consume these resources, and giving them that agency will be a catalyst for everyone to take care of their mental health, and at the same time putting their best capacities and
I expect that my university continues providing a psychopedagogical cabinet that is free for every student. Besides, the university should continue ensuring the quality of this service so that every student does not have to wait a lot on a list to be attended. In addition, the university should disseminate all the facilities and services that it can offer regarding mental health to every member of the university community. In this way, anyone will know, in a way, where to go or who to ask. But what I consider the most important point is that the university should include, in a way, a work-life balance plan that it will adapt every circumstance to every member of the university community.
Okay, there we have it. So plenty of committed students contributing from the universities of the Alliance. Okay, it's time to check whether we've got questions. We've got the question by Rebecca Roset Tokdemir asking, what's your opinion on how open someone should be about their mental health? We often talk about reaching out to friends and families, but what do you think about being open about our own mental health? Whoever wants to answer.
I think that all of us have mental health. It's not just that those who have problems with the mental health should be open to the mental health. I think that mental health could be a normalizing topic. I think that would be the most important, that you can talk about that as you talk about other relevant domains in your life. It's one more and really, really important. There will be a problem if you only talk about your mental health as well, because that should not be the only focus of your life activities, so to speak. Liliana, I was watching her research and has a lot about rumination, right? So I think that I don't think that mental health should be something that we need to ruminate on, but something that when it's needed to share with others, we should do that openly, yes, of course, and with differentiating what people we can trust. That's something important. What of your relationships are worth enough so that you can trust in them in order to have this intimate conversation? Because you cannot have this kind of conversation with everybody. You need to choose who are you talking with, so that you have the intimate context in order to feel safe, feel understood, feel secure. That's important. So open as you can regarding the intimate or close relationship that you have. That would be my answer.
Thank you, Alejandro. Any other contributions from our panelists?
Maybe I can just add to that. I agree with Alejandro, but I think that it's very important to select people that we are going to talk to, because there is a danger sometimes that actually in a need to share something private, we share with some people that actually, sometimes they can actually support some non-healthy habits. For example, so that sometimes it's more it's okay to have social support. It's okay to have family, to have friends, to share some of your things that you would like to share. But sometimes it's more appropriate to talk a completely neutral professional who can really in a way be quite objective, neutral, and create an atmosphere of trust that a person can really talk openly about his or her issues. Sometimes, as I said, there is a possibility that sometimes our friends or acquaintances really support some non-healthy habits that we have. So we should be cautious.
Nice. We also have a contribution in the QA panel by Liliana Acuña, who says, I agree with you. However, in work context, this is more sensible. Yeah, I guess it is never easy. Okay, we are just about to finish our e-conference because we've been running from already 1 hour and a half. So on my side, I still have to thank you all for being there. And I would like to share the email addresses of our panelists with you so that you can redirect further questions to them in case you want to. Of course, you also have my email address if there is something else that you would like to comment or anything that you would like to tell us, please write to us. And well, apart from this, as I said, thank you very much to all of the panelists. This was a pleasure to have you around. I really enjoyed all of your presentations and the discussion as well. Thank you as well to the students who have contributed with their box pops. It was very reconforting and interesting to see that so many students commit to YouGlow activities. I hope this has been interesting for you as this has been for me. And thank you all for being there. Just to tell you, we've reached the highest number of participants was at 88. So, well, hopefully this has been useful for many of you. The video of the e-conference will be shared in the EU Glow webpage. So thank you to the University of Novi Sad as well for co-organizing this activity. And well, I hope we will be very soon enjoying further e-conferences and that you will also register for them. Thank you very much and bye-bye.